Welcome to ZenLight 8, where we ignite your path to living boldly, confidently, and unapologetically. Have you ever felt overlooked, used, or treated like you don't matter? If so, today is the day that ends. In this video, we're breaking down 9 priceless lessons from the legend Denzel Washington's secrets to make respect something you command, not beg for. Get ready, because starting now, no one will dare disrespect you again. Hit that subscribe button for ZenLight 8 and join us on this journey to elevate your life. Stop explaining yourself. Reclaim your power. Have you ever felt exhausted from constantly explaining yourself? You've tried to clarify why you chose a certain path, why you walked away from a relationship, or why you decided to change your life, only to realize the person you're talking to doesn't care. They don't listen, they don't understand, and worse, they still disrespect you despite your efforts to justify yourself. If that sounds familiar, pause for a moment and hear this. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone who isn't worthy or doesn't genuinely care about you. This is the first lesson in ensuring no one dares disrespect you again. And today, we're diving deep into why this matters so much. Explaining yourself is a destructive habit. Think about the times you've felt compelled to explain. Maybe it was when a close friend questioned your decision to quit a stable job to pursue your passion, their tone dripping with doubt. Or perhaps a family member gave you that skeptical look, as if you owed them proof that you're not messing up by living differently from their expectations. You start talking, carefully choosing your words, hoping they'll nod and say, "Oh, now I get it." But what happens next? They still doubt you. They still disagree. They still judge you through their narrow lens. So why do you keep putting yourself through that? We explain ourselves for a simple reason. We want to be understood. It's human nature. No one wants to be misinterpreted, labeled a failure, or seen as strange just because they dare to live differently. We think that if we say enough, if we provide enough reasons, people will shift their perspective about us. But here's the harsh truth. Those who don't respect you from the start won't change their minds just because you explain. They've already decided how they see you before you even open your mouth, and every word you say is like pouring water into a bottomless cup. No matter how much you give, it'll never be enough. Picture this. You're facing someone who criticizes you relentlessly. You explain that you've been working hard, that you had a good reason to decline an invitation, that you need time for yourself. But instead of listening, they twist your words, ask more questions, or act like they didn't hear a thing. The more you talk, the more drained you feel. Your energy slips away, your peace of mind evaporates, and in the end, you're left wondering, why did I even bother? Exactly. Explaining doesn't earn you respect. It only robs you of your own power. Who deserves your explanation? Not everyone deserves access to your story. Think of it like a privilege. Not just anyone gets to step into your inner world, understand the reasons behind your choices, or grasp the dreams you're chasing. The people who truly respect you, who genuinely care, don't need you to explain. They see how you live, how you move, and they trust you have your reasons. They don't demand you prove anything. But the others, the ones who always doubt, always question, always expect you to report to them, they're not seeking understanding. They're seeking control. Have you ever noticed how those who constantly demand explanations rarely offer one in return? They expect you to bare your soul, but they keep their own thoughts locked away. They want you to justify yourself, but they never feel the need to do the same. That's not respect. It's a power game. And the only way to win that game is to refuse to play. When you stop explaining, you send a powerful message. I don't need your approval. I know who I am, and that's enough. Wasting time on the uninterested. Recall a time when you spent hours explaining yourself to someone. Maybe through a long text, a tense conversation, or even a heated argument. You thought that if you said enough, they'd get it. But what happened? They stuck to their stance, or worse, they walked away acting like your words meant nothing. How did you feel afterward? Exhausted, frustrated, and maybe a little angry at yourself for letting them take so much of your time and energy. Time is your most valuable asset. You can't reclaim the minutes you've lost, and you certainly shouldn't squander them on people who don't deserve it. Those who don't care about you, who don't value what you bring, don't have the right to hear your story. They don't deserve your stress, your struggle to be seen. So why do you keep doing it? Why do you let them drag you into an endless cycle of doubt and judgment? Imagine if you redirected all that energy toward yourself to grow, to chase your dreams, to build a life you're proud of. Instead of explaining why you chose this path, you could use that time to walk further down it. Instead of justifying your changes, you could focus on becoming the best version of yourself. When you stop explaining, you reclaim control over your time, your energy, and most importantly, your self-respect. The freedom in silence. What happens when you decide to stop explaining? At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You'll worry that people will misunderstand you, think the worst of you, or spread lies. But let me ask you this. If they didn't respect you before you explained, will they change after you do? Usually, the answer is no. So why bother? Let them think what they want. Let them say what they like. The truth always reveals itself. You don't need to speak up for it. The people who truly matter, the ones who belong in your life, will see your worth through your actions, your consistency, your strength. They don't need you to say a word. They get you just by watching you. The rest, they're not worth your concern. When you stop explaining, you step into a new kind of freedom. You're no longer tethered to the need for validation. You no longer feel like you have to prove anything to anyone. You become stronger, more confident, and that naturally draws respect from those around you. People don't respect you because you talk a lot. They respect you because you know when to stay silent, when to stand firm without justifying yourself. Reclaiming your power. Think about the greatest figures in history, leaders, visionaries, world changers. Do you think they paused to explain every step to every doubter? No, because if they had, they'd never have gotten anywhere. They'd have been stuck in a whirlwind of meaningless criticism, dragged down by people who never intended to support them. Instead, they acted. They moved forward. They let their results speak for them. You can do the same. You don't need to explain why you're working on yourself. If they can't see your growth, that's their problem. You don't need to justify walking away from toxic people. If they don't get it, that's their loss. You don't need to explain why you choose peace over drama. If they don't respect it, let them stay in their chaos while you rise above. When you stop explaining, you deliver a clear message. I don't need your approval to live my life. That's real power. That's how you take back control from those who've tried to dominate you with their doubt and judgment. And when you stand firm in that confidence, the world starts to see you differently. They realize you're not someone who can be shaken, not someone who'll bend to please anyone. They begin to respect you, and not because you asked for it, but because you forced them to. Conclusion. Live without explanation. Starting today, commit to yourself that you'll stop explaining to those who don't deserve it. You don't owe anyone a reason for your growth, your peace, or your choice to put yourself first. Live in silence, let your actions speak, and watch how the world shifts in your favor. The ones who truly care will stay, and those who don't respect you will fade away. That's how you filter out what doesn't belong in your life. Stopping the need to explain isn't just an action. It's a mindset. It's a declaration that you know your worth, that you don't need anyone to validate it for you. And when you live with that mindset, no one, and not friends, not family, not coworkers, no one will dare disrespect you again. Begin now. Reclaim your power. Live as if you're the only one who needs to believe in you, because that's the truth. Set clear boundaries. Protect yourself like your life depends on it. If you've ever felt drained, disrespected, or taken advantage of, here's a truth you need to hear. It's not just about the people around you. It's about the boundaries you've failed to set. Boundaries aren't optional. They're essential. They're your shield against those who would use you. Your line in the sand that says, this is where I stop giving, and this is where you stop taking. To ensure no one disrespects you again, you must decide what you will and won't tolerate, then enforce it relentlessly. No apologies, no lengthy explanations. This is the second lesson in commanding respect, and it's one that can transform your life if you embrace it fully. Why boundaries matter more than you think. Imagine your life as a house. Without walls or a locked door, anyone can walk in, take what they want, and leave you with nothing. That's what happens when you don't have boundaries. You leave yourself open to being used, manipulated, and drained by others. Too many people go through life without realizing this. wondering why they feel so tired, so resentful, so empty. They give and give, hoping others will see their worth and treat them better. But here's the reality. People will treat you however you allow them to. If you don't set limits, they'll keep pushing, keep taking, until you're left with nothing but exhaustion. Boundaries aren't just a nice idea, they're a necessity for survival. They protect your energy, your peace, and your sense of self. Without them, you're sending a silent invitation. You can treat me however you want, and I'll still be here, and people will take advantage of that. They'll test how far they can go, how much they can get away with. Not because they're all bad people, but because you've never made it clear where the line is. The moment you let someone cross that line without consequence, you've taught them that your boundaries don't matter. And that's when the disrespect begins. Think about a time when someone overstepped. Maybe a friend kept unloading their problems on you, expecting you to fix everything while offering nothing in return. Or a coworker dumped extra tasks on you because you never said no. How did it feel? You might have smiled through it, stayed silent, or convinced yourself it wasn't a big deal. But deep down, you felt the weight. You felt tired, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. That's what happens when you don't enforce boundaries. You end up carrying burdens that aren't yours, resenting the very people you're trying to please. Defining your limits. Setting boundaries starts with a decision. What will you accept and what won't you? It's not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. It's about saying, I refuse to let disrespect slide. I refuse to be treated like I don't matter. I refuse to pour into others while leaving myself empty. This isn't selfish, it's self-respect in action. You don't need to announce your boundaries to the world or beg people to honor them. You simply decide what's non-negotiable, then stand firm on it. For example, maybe you decide you won't tolerate being guilt-tripped into doing things you don't want to do. Or you won't let people dump their emotional baggage on you without reciprocation. Or you won't stay in relationships, romantic, platonic, or professional, that make you feel small. Once you've drawn that line, the next step is enforcement. If someone crosses it, you address it immediately. If they keep crossing it, you remove them from your life. No debates, no back and forth, no pleading for them to see your worth. That's it. The beauty of boundaries is their simplicity. They don't require long explanations or apologies. You don't have to say, I'm sorry, but I can't handle this anymore because, no. A firm no or a quiet exit is enough. People might not like it. In fact, the ones who've benefited from your lack of boundaries will hate it. They'll call you mean, selfish, or cold. Let them. The ones who get upset when you set limits are the same ones who've been taking advantage of you all along. They liked the version of you that said yes when you meant no, that tolerated their disrespect, that made their life easier at your expense. But that version of you is gone. The cost of weak boundaries. What happens when you don't set boundaries? You become a doormat. People walk all over you not because they're inherently cruel, but because you've trained them to believe it's okay. You say yes when you're dying to say no. You stay in situations that drain you because you're afraid of confrontation. You keep giving to people who never give back, hoping one day they'll notice your sacrifice and change. But they won't not until you demand it. The cost isn't just emotional. It's physical, mental, even spiritual. You start feeling tired all the time, not because you're busy, but because your energy is being siphoned off by others. You grow resentful, but you bottle it up because you've conditioned yourself to prioritize everyone else. You lose sleep over their problems, stress over their demands, and before you know it, you're a shell of who you could be. That's the danger of weak boundaries. They don't just let others in, they let you disappear. Take a moment to reflect. How many times have you stayed on the phone for hours, listening to someone complain, when you were exhausted and needed rest? How many times have you said yes to a favor you couldn't afford to give, just to avoid disappointing someone? How many times have you let someone's negativity infect your day because you didn't shut it down? Each time you let that happen, you gave away a piece of yourself. But it doesn't have to be that way. Enforcing boundaries takes courage. Here's where most people falter. They set a boundary, but they don't follow through. Someone crosses the line, and instead of standing firm, they let it slide. Maybe they don't want to seem rude. Maybe they fear losing the relationship. Maybe they think, it's not that bad. But the moment you let a boundary be breached without consequence, you've lost all credibility. You've shown that your limits are negotiable, that your no doesn't really mean no. And once people know that, they'll keep pushing because they can. Enforcing boundaries isn't a one-time event. It's a daily choice. It's saying, no, I won't let you guilt me into this, and meaning it. It's walking away from a conversation that's turning toxic without hesitation. It's cutting off a relationship that only takes without apology. People will test you. They'll push to see if you're serious. They might get angry, try to manipulate you, or play the victim. This is where your strength comes in. You have to be willing to disappoint people. You have to be okay with not being liked by everyone. You have to prioritize yourself over their comfort. The strongest people aren't the ones who never get hurt. They're the ones who refuse to let hurt become their norm. They recognize when they're being taken advantage of, and they stop it. They don't tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or one-sided relationships. They set boundaries and enforce them every single time. And because of that, they command respect, and not because they demand it, but because they live it. The rewards of strong boundaries. When you set and enforce boundaries, something incredible happens. You filter out the wrong people, the users, the manipulators, the energy drainers. They'll start to disappear, either because they can't handle your new strength or because you've shown them the door. And the right people, the ones who respect you, who value your space, they'll step up. They'll honor your limits, not because they're forced to, but because they see your worth. Boundaries also bring peace. You're no longer stretched thin, trying to please everyone. You're no longer an emotional dumping ground for people too lazy to fix their own problems. You're free to say no, to walk away, to choose yourself. And with that freedom comes power, the power to build a life that reflects your value, not someone else's demands. Look at the most respected people you know. They're not the ones who bend over backward for everyone. They're the ones who know their limits and stick to them. They don't beg for approval or tolerate nonsense. They move through life with a quiet strength that says, this is who I am, and this is what I accept. That's the energy you need to cultivate. Conclusion. Boundaries are your foundation. From this moment on, make boundaries your non-negotiable. Decide what you'll accept and what you won't, then enforce it like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't owe anyone an apology for protecting your energy. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. The sooner you set those limits, the sooner you take back control of your destiny. Boundaries aren't mean. They aren't selfish. They're the foundation of a strong, self-respecting, powerful life. They teach people how to treat you, and if they can't handle it, they don't belong in your world. So draw your line today. Stand firm. Watch how the disrespect fades, how the right people rise, and how you finally step into the life you deserve. No one will walk over you again, not when you've built walls they can't climb. Walk like you own it. Command respect with your presence. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and instantly command attention? They don't say a word, yet everyone turns to look. It's not about their clothes, their title, or their wealth. It's about how they carry themselves. Your posture, your confidence, and the way you show up in any space dictate how others treat you before you even speak. This is the third lesson in ensuring no one disrespects you. Walk like you own it. Project strength, not timidity. Never apologize for existing. When you master this, you'll see the world shift in how it responds to you, not because you demanded respect, but because your presence made it undeniable. The power of presence. Think of presence as your unspoken language. Before you open your mouth, people have already sized you up based on how you move. Do you shuffle in, head down, shoulders slumped, hoping no one notices you? Or do you stride in with purpose, head high, exuding quiet assurance? The difference is night and day. If you act like you don't belong, like you're sorry for taking up space, people will believe you. They'll overlook you, dismiss you, or treat you as insignificant. But when you walk like you own the room, even if you don't, something changes. People sit up. They pay attention. They feel your energy, and they can't ignore it. This isn't about arrogance or shouting to be heard. It's about a calm, unshakable confidence that says, I'm here, and I deserve to be. You don't need to be the richest, the smartest, or the most experienced person in the space. You just need to believe your presence matters, because it does. Too many people shrink themselves when they step into unfamiliar territory. They lower their voice, avoid eye contact, hesitate before speaking. They make themselves small, thinking it's humility. But that kind of energy invites disrespect. If you act like you're not worth noticing, why should anyone else think differently? Picture a job interview. 2 candidates walk in. One slouches, fidgets, and mumbles their answers, radiating uncertainty. The other stands tall, moves with purpose, and speaks clearly, even if they're nervous inside. Who leaves a stronger impression? The second one, every time. It's not about what they say. It's about how they carry themselves. Presence isn't a gift you're born with. It's a skill you cultivate. And once you master it, it becomes your superpower. Confidence sets the tone. Confidence isn't about knowing everything or being the best in the room. It's about showing up fully as you are, without apology. It's understanding that no one is inherently above you, not the CEO, not the loudest voice, not the person with the fanciest title. The moment you start acting like others are on a pedestal and you're beneath them, that's exactly how they'll treat you. But when you move like you belong, like your voice carries weight, people adjust. They don't just see you, they respect you. Look at the people you admire, the ones who seem to command every space they enter. Are they always the most skilled or the most knowledgeable? Not necessarily, but they walk with intention. They speak with certainty. They act like they're meant to be there. And because they believe it, the world believes it too. You don't need to be loud or aggressive to achieve this. A quiet strength can be just as powerful, sometimes more so. It's in the way you hold your head up, the way you meet someone's gaze, the way you refuse to shrink under pressure. Take a real-world example, a crowded party. One person slips in quietly, hugging the walls, blending into the background. Another steps in, shoulders back, scanning the room with a steady eye, moving like they're at home. Who do people gravitate toward? The second one. Not because they demanded attention, but because their energy said, I'm someone worth knowing. That's the secret. Confidence isn't about forcing yourself into the spotlight. It's about owning your space so naturally that others can't help but notice. How to walk like you own it. So how do you build this presence? It starts with the basics. Stand up straight, not stiffly, but with strength. Pull your shoulders back, lift your chin, and let your posture say, I'm not afraid to be seen. When you walk, move with purpose. Don't rush like you're scared, and don't dawdle like you're unsure. Find a calm, steady rhythm that shows you know where you're going, even if you don't. Make eye contact, not to intimidate, but to connect. It shows you're present, aware, and unafraid. Your voice matters too. Too many people undermine themselves before they even start. They begin sentences with, I don't know if this makes sense, but, or, I'm not sure, but. That hesitation signals doubt, not just in your words, but in yourself. Strip that away. Speak clearly like your words have value, because they do. You don't need to shout or dominate. You just need to sound like you believe what you're saying. If you don't, why should anyone else? Practice this in small moments. Next time you enter a room, your workplace, a meeting, even a grocery store, walk in like it's yours. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Own every step. Let your energy fill the space. At first, it might feel unnatural, especially if you're used to shrinking. But the more you do it, the more it becomes who you are. And the more it becomes you, the less anyone will dare to disrespect you. Overcoming the fear of standing out. Here's the hard part. Walking like you own it can feel intimidating, especially in spaces where you don't feel qualified. Maybe you're the youngest in the room, the least experienced, or the odd one out. Doubt creeps in. What if I don't belong? What if they see through me? Everyone feels that at some point, even the most powerful people. The difference is they don't let it show. They act like they belong until they believe it, and eventually, that belief becomes their reality. You'll face rooms that scare you, a boardroom full of suits, a social circle that feels out of your league, a situation where you're the underdog. That's when this lesson matters most. Don't let fear make you small. Don't let imposter syndrome convince you to fade into the background. You're there for a reason. Your past, your struggles, your unique journey brought you to that moment. Own it. The people who rise aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to let insecurity dictate how they show up. I once knew someone who walked into a high-stakes meeting with zero experience in the field. They weren't the expert, but they carried themselves like they were. They stood tall, spoke deliberately, and owned their perspective. By the end, people were asking for their input, not because they knew the most, but because they projected authority. That's the magic of presence. It convinces others before you've even proven yourself. Perception is everything. The world runs on perception. People don't see your resume, your doubts, or your insecurities when you walk in. They see how you present yourself. If you move with hesitation, they'll sense weakness. If you move with certainty, they'll assume strength. Some of the most successful people in history built their legacies not on skill alone, but on how they showed up. They understood that how you're perceived shapes how you're treated, and they used it to their advantage. When you walk like you own it, you set the tone. You tell people, I'm not here to be ignored. You don't need to beg for respect, your energy demands it. And the best part? It's self-reinforcing. The more you carry yourself with confidence, the more respect you get, and the more confident you become. It's a cycle that elevates you, step by step, until disrespect becomes a foreign concept. Conclusion: own your space. From today, commit to walking like you own every room you enter. Stand tall, move with purpose, speak like your voice matters, because it does. You don't need permission to take up space. You don't need to apologize for being you. The moment you stop shrinking, the moment you project strength without saying a word, everything changes. People will look at you differently. Opportunities will find you. Respect will follow you. You don't have to be the loudest or the most accomplished. You just have to believe you belong and show it. The world doesn't decide your worth. You do. So step into every space like it's yours. Own your presence. Watch how the disrespect fades, how the doubters quiet down, how the room bends to your energy. No one will dare overlook you again, not when you walk like you own it. Stop seeking approval. Your worth isn't up for vote. Have you ever changed yourself to fit someone else's expectations? Maybe you softened your opinions, hid your true feelings, or said yes when every fiber of you screamed no. All because you wanted someone to like you, to approve of you, to validate your existence. If that resonates, here's a truth that will set you free. Your value doesn't depend on anyone else's recognition. This is the fourth lesson in ensuring no one disrespects you. Live authentically, even if it means losing people who can't handle the real you. When you stop seeking approval, you stop handing your power to others, and that's when respect becomes yours to command. The trap of approval seeking. From the moment we're born, we're taught to chase approval. As kids, we crave our parents' pride. In school, we seek teachers' praise. In friendships, we yearn to fit in. Somewhere along the way, we start believing our worth is tied to how many people like us, how many nod in agreement, how many pat us on the back. It's a trap, one that leaves you drained, lost, and disconnected from who you really are. Because no matter how hard you try, you'll never please everyone. And the more you twist yourself to fit their molds, the less you recognize the person staring back in the mirror. Think about it. How many decisions have you made just to win someone's approval? How many times have you bitten your tongue because you didn't want to rock the boat? How many times have you dimmed your light to make someone else comfortable? Maybe you stayed in a job you hated because your family expected it. Maybe you kept a toxic friend because you feared being alone. Maybe you changed your style, your laugh, your dreams just to be accepted. And what did it get you? A fleeting nod, perhaps, but never true happiness. Instead, you're left exhausted, walking on eggshells, terrified that one wrong move will cost you their favor. Living for approval is a never-ending race. You bend for one person and another steps up with a new demand. You please a friend and a coworker wants more. You satisfy your boss and your partner finds fault. It's a cycle that keeps you chasing something you'll never catch. Because approval isn't a finish line. It's a mirage. The moment you think you've got it, it shifts. And in that chase, you lose the one thing that matters most: yourself. Your worth isn't their opinion. Here's the hard truth. Some people will never like you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will judge you for no reason at all. And that's okay. You weren't put on this earth to be everyone's cup of tea. You're here to be you, unapologetically, powerfully, authentically you. Your worth isn't determined by how many people applaud you. It's not a scorecard tallied by strangers, friends, or even family. It's an intrinsic truth, one that exists whether they see it or not. The moment you tie your value to others' opinions, you give them control. You let them decide if you're good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. But why should they get that power? They don't live your life. They don't carry your scars or dream your dreams. They don't know the battles you've fought or the strength it took to get here. So why do you let their fleeting thoughts dictate your reality? Stop handing your self-esteem to people who don't deserve it. Stop letting their approval define your success. Consider this. How many times have you felt crushed because someone didn't get you? Maybe you shared a bold idea and they shot it down. Maybe you opened up and they walked away. That sting, it's not about them rejecting you. It's about you rejecting yourself by needing their validation. The real ones, the ones who matter, won't need you to prove your worth. They'll see it in your actions, your spirit, your truth. The rest? Their opinions are noise, irrelevant, and powerless unless you let them in. The cost of living for others. When you seek approval, you pay a steep price. You lose your voice, your identity, your freedom. Think about the moments you've held back, not saying what you mean, not doing what you love, not being who you are, all to avoid ruffling feathers. Each time you chipped away at yourself. You traded your authenticity for a shaky, temporary acceptance that never lasts. And in the end, who suffers? Not them, you. I knew someone who spent years molding herself for others. She dressed how her friends liked, worked a job her parents chose, dated people she didn't love, all to keep the peace. She was miserable, but she kept going, convinced that their approval would fill the void. Didn't. One day she snapped. She walked away from it all, the job, the fake friends, the pretense, and started living for herself. She lost people, sure, but she found something better. Peace. That's the trade-off. You might lose some along the way, but you'll gain yourself, and that's worth everything. Living for others also attracts the wrong crowd. When you bend to fit their expectations, you draw in people who like the watered-down version of you, not the real one. They'll stick around as long as you keep performing, but the moment you stop, they're gone. Meanwhile, the people who'd love the authentic you, the bold, unfiltered you, never get the chance to know you. By seeking approval, you sabotage your own happiness and push away those who truly respect you. The courage to be yourself. Stopping the approval chase takes guts. It means saying what you think, even if it's unpopular. It means walking away from people who demand you shrink. It means standing tall when others try to pull you down. Most people don't have that courage. They're too afraid of rejection, too terrified of being disliked, so they play a role, wearing masks, parroting lines, hiding their truth. They think it's safer, but it's a slow death. Deep down, they know they're not seen, not heard, not loved for who they are. That won't be your story. You're going to step into your truth. You'll say what you mean, live how you want, be who you are, even if it ruffles feathers. Some will walk away. Some will squirm at the real you. Some will try to drag you back to the version they could control. Let them go. The ones who stay, the ones who cheer for your authenticity, those are your people. They don't need you to dim your light. They'll bask in it. And the ones who leave, they were never meant to be part of your journey. Look at the greats, the leaders, the innovators, the legends. They weren't universally loved. They had critics, haters, doubters galore. People misunderstood them, judged them, tried to tear them down. But they didn't stop. They didn't shrink to fit someone's box. They kept going, standing firm in their truth, knowing their worth wasn't up for debate. That's your blueprint. You don't need everyone's applause to shine. You just need your own belief. The freedom of letting go. When you stop seeking approval, you break free. You no longer twist yourself into knots to be liked. You no longer waste energy proving your worth to people who'll never see it. You become unstoppable not because everyone loves you, but because you love yourself enough to stop caring. Imagine the weight that lifts. No more second-guessing every move. No more tailoring your life to their whims. Just you living on your terms, free from the chains of their opinions. Sure, they might talk. They might call you stubborn, arrogant, changed. Let them. You're not here to fix their perception of you. You're here to live your truth. The real ones will get it. They'll see your heart, your value, without you begging for their nod. And the ones who don't, they're irrelevant. Their exit clears space for what aligns with you. People, opportunities, a life that honors who you are. Conclusion. You are enough. Starting today, decide that your worth isn't up for vote. You don't need anyone's approval to be you, not your friends, not your family, not the world. Live authentically, boldly, without apology. Some won't get it. Some will leave. That's not a loss, it's a gain. You're not for everyone, and that's your strength. The moment you stop chasing validation, you reclaim your power. The moment you stand firm in your identity, you command respect. You weren't created to please the crowd. You weren't born to shrink for their comfort. You're here to be you, the real, raw, unshakable you. So let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the fear of losing those who don't see you. Step into your truth and watch how the world adjusts. No one will disrespect you when you respect yourself first. You are enough, and that's all the approval you'll ever need. Be silent when they expect a reaction. The power of unshaken calm. Have you ever been baited into an argument you didn't want? Someone disrespects you, provokes you, or throws a jab, and before you know it, you're firing back, defending yourself, proving a point, trying to set the record straight. You think you're standing up for yourself, but here's the truth. By reacting, you've just handed them your power. The fifth lesson in ensuring no one disrespects you is this. Stay silent when they expect a reaction. Refusing to engage in the face of provocation is how you keep your strength. Silence confuses them, unnerves them, and shows the world you're not easily controlled. Master this and you'll command respect without ever raising your voice. Why silence is stronger than words. Most people don't get this. When they're attacked, their instinct is to fight back, to argue, to explain, to lash out. It feels natural, even justified. If someone insults you, you want them to know they're wrong. If they challenge you, you want to prove your worth. If they disrespect you, you want to reclaim your dignity. But here's what happens. The moment you react, you give them exactly what they want. They've hooked you, they've pulled you into their game, and now they're in control, not you. Think about a time you argued with someone who'd already made up their mind. Maybe a coworker belittled your work, and you spent an hour justifying it. Maybe a friend twisted your words, and you fought to clarify. Did it change anything? Probably not. They didn't suddenly see the light. They doubled down, or worse, they smirked, knowing they'd gotten under your skin. You walked away drained, frustrated, and no more respected than before. That's the trap of reacting. It wastes your energy on people who don't care and hands them the reins to your emotions. Silence, on the other hand, is power. When someone disrespects you, they're betting on your reaction. They want you to get upset, to argue, to scramble for their approval. They thrive on seeing you rattled. It's how they feel bigger. But when you stay silent, when you refuse to take the bait, you flip the script. They're left hanging, unsure, wondering why their words didn't land. That uncertainty? It's your victory. They realize their jab had no weight. Their control slipped, and your calm strength towers over their noise. The psychology of provocation. People who provoke you aren't after truth. They're after dominance. They poke at you to see if they can push your buttons, to test how much sway they have over you. It's a power play, plain and simple. Maybe it's a family member who knows just how to guilt trip you. Maybe it's a colleague who criticizes you in front of others to feel superior. Maybe it's a stranger online hurling insults to get a rise. They all expect the same thing, a reaction. They want you to jump, to defend, to prove something. Because when you do, they win. I've seen it play out. A friend once dealt with a boss who loved to nitpick her every move in meetings. At first, she'd argue back, laying out facts to counter his snide remarks. He'd just smile and keep going. Her frustration fueled him. One day, she stopped. He threw his usual jab, and she just looked at him, said nothing, and moved on. The room went quiet. He faltered, repeated himself, then dropped it. After that, he backed off. Why? Her silence showed she wasn't playing his game anymore. She kept her power and he lost his. That's the secret. People who provoke you don't know what to do with silence. It's not what they're prepared for. They expect noise, anger, excuses, tears, because that's predictable. It's controllable. But when you stand there, unbothered, unmoved, they're thrown off balance. They're forced to sit with their own words, their own pettiness, and they don't like it. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their weakness back at them. Silence isn't weakness, it's discipline. Don't mistake this for cowardice. Staying silent when every part of you wants to clap back takes strength. It's easy to yell, to curse, to unload every thought in your head. It's hard to hold your tongue, to keep your cool, to let the moment pass without giving them the satisfaction. That restraint is discipline. It's self-control. It's the mark of someone who knows their worth doesn't need defending, not to anyone, not in any petty squabble. Picture this. Someone spreads a lie about you. Your blood boils, your mind races with comebacks. You could call them out, set the record straight, rally others to your side. But what if you didn't? What if you let them talk, let the rumor float, and kept your focus on what matters? The truth has a way of surfacing without your help. People who matter will see through the noise, and the ones who don't, they're not worth your breath. That's not running away, that's rising above. Silence isn't passive. It's strategic. It's choosing your battles, knowing that not every insult deserves a response. Not every critic deserves your time. The strongest people don't waste energy on every slight. They save it for what moves them forward. They understand that reacting to every jab is like chasing every shadow. You'll tire yourself out and gain nothing. Instead, they stand still, unshaken, letting the storm pass while they stay rooted. How to master the art of silence. So how do you do it? It starts with awareness. Next time someone provokes you, pause. Feel the urge to react, the heat in your chest, the words on your tongue, and let it sit. Breathe. Look them in the eye if you can, not with aggression, but with calm certainty. Say nothing. Let the silence stretch. You'll be amazed at how uncomfortable it makes them. They might push harder, repeat themselves, try to reel you in. Don't bite. Keep your peace like it's your greatest weapon. Because it is. Try it in small moments. A snarky comment from a friend? Don't laugh it off or snap back. Just let it hang. A passive-aggressive dig at work? Skip the defense and move on. A troll online? Don't feed them, leave them starving. Each time you choose silence, you build that muscle. You teach yourself that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. And the more you do it, the more natural it feels until it's who you are. I once watched someone handle a heated family argument this way. An uncle kept jabbing, trying to drag her into a shouting match over something trivial. She'd always fought back before, but this time she didn't. She sat there, sipped her drink, and said nothing. He got louder, then flustered, then quiet. The room shifted. Everyone saw her strength, not in words, but in her refusal to be rattled. That's the kind of power silence gives you, the respect that follows. People respect what they can't control. When you react, you're predictable. They know how to pull your strings. But when you stay silent, you're a mystery. They can't figure you out, can't manipulate you, can't break you. That unpredictability commands attention. That's why the quiet ones, the ones who don't flinch, are the ones you don't mess with. They don't need to prove their strength. Their calm says it all. Silence also filters your life. The provocateurs, the dramastirers, the ones who thrive on your reaction. They'll fade when they realize they can't get to you. They'll move on to easier targets. Meanwhile, the people who respect you will step closer. They'll admire your restraint, your focus, your refusal to be dragged down. You don't need to shout your worth. Your silence screams it. Conclusion. Silence is your strength. From now on, embrace silence when they expect a fight. The next time someone disrespects you, don't give them the reaction they crave. Look past them, hold your ground, keep your peace. Let them flounder in their own words while you stand tall. You don't need to argue your worth. You don't need to explain it. It's there, unshakable, whether they see it or not. Silence isn't giving up, it's rising above. It's showing the world you're too strong to be baited, too focused to be distracted, too powerful to be controlled. Every time you choose it, you reclaim your energy, your dignity, your respect. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them stew. You stay silent, you stay steady, and you watch how the disrespect dissolves. No one will dare push you when they see you can't be moved. That's the power of silence. Wield it, and you'll never be disrespected again. Keep your achievements quiet. Let your results do the talking. Have you ever felt the urge to shout your successes from the rooftops? You land a big win, hit a milestone, or finally turn a dream into reality, and you can't wait to tell the world. It's natural, we all want to be seen, to be recognized, to have our hard work acknowledged. But here's a lesson that will protect your peace and amplify your respect. Keep your achievements quiet. Don't broadcast your plans or your victories. Let the results speak for themselves. This sixth step in ensuring no one disrespects you shields you from jealousy, interference, and unnecessary noise. Letting your success stand tall without you ever needing to say a word. The danger of announcing everything. There's a thrill in sharing good news. You get a promotion and you post it online. You start a new project and you tell everyone your grand vision. You overcome a struggle and you can't wait for the applause. Feels good for a moment, but that moment fades fast, and what follows can undo all you've built. The second you announce your every move, you open the door to opinions, envy, and obstacles you didn't see coming. Not everyone clapping for you is happy for you. Not everyone listening to your plans wants you to succeed. Some are waiting for you to stumble, and the more you talk, the more ammunition you give them. Think back to a time you shared something big too soon. Maybe you told a friend about a goal, and they responded with doubt. Are you sure you can pull that off? Maybe you posted about a breakthrough, and the comments turned snarky or dismissive. Or maybe you let slip your next step, and suddenly roadblocks appeared, people meddling, criticizing, or subtly sabotaging. That's not a coincidence. When you put your achievements out there, you invite the world to weigh in, and the world isn't always kind. I knew someone who learned this the hard way. He just started a side business and couldn't stop talking about it to friends, family, even casual acquaintances. At first, they cheered him on. But soon, the questions started. What if it fails? Why not stick to your day job? Then came the unsolicited advice, the backhanded compliments, the quiet resentment from those who felt threatened. By the time he launched, he was exhausted, not from the work, but from defending his dream. If he'd kept it quiet, he could have saved that energy and let his success silence the noise. Why silence protects you. The world doesn't need a play-by-play of your journey. When you talk less and do more, you create a shield around your progress. You don't have to explain your vision to people who don't get it. You don't have to fend off negativity from those who secretly hope you fail. You don't have to deal with the pressure of proving yourself before you're ready. Silence keeps your focus where it belongs, on the work, not the chatter. People respect results, not promises. You can talk all day about what you're going to do, what you're building, what you dream of, but it's meaningless without execution. The loudest person in the room, the one boasting about their plans, rarely holds the most power. They're seeking validation, trying to convince others, and maybe themselves, that they're on the right path. But the quiet ones, the ones who grind without fanfare, they're the ones who turn heads. When they succeed, no one can argue with it. The evidence is there, undeniable, and it speaks louder than any announcement ever could. Silence also guards your peace. Every time you share, you open yourself to judgment. Some will cheer, sure, but others will dissect, doubt, or dismiss. That noise seeps in, even if you try to ignore it. It plants seeds of insecurity, makes you second-guess, pulls you off course. But when you keep your achievements quiet, you stay in control. You don't need anyone's approval to keep going. You don't need their applause to feel good. You're free to build in peace, away from the spotlight, until you're ready to step into it on your terms. The myth of needing recognition. We've been conditioned to think recognition is the goal, that if we don't tell people what we've done, it doesn't count. But that's a lie. Your worth isn't tied to how many likes you get, how many congrats you hear, how many people know your story. It's in what you've accomplished, whether anyone sees it or not. The most powerful people don't chase the spotlight, they let it find them. They don't need to prove anything because their work does it for them. Look at the legends, the innovators, the trailblazers. Did they announce every step? Did they pause to tell the world what they were cooking up? No. They moved in silence, heads down, hands busy. One day, the world woke up to their genius, no warning, no hype, just results. Think of someone like Steve Jobs. He didn't leak every detail of the next big thing. He worked quietly, then unveiled it when it was ready. The impact spoke for itself. That's the blueprint. Less talk, more action. Let them see, not hear. Contrast that with the braggarts, the ones who can't stop talking about their next move. They're loud, but their follow-through is often weak. People might nod at first, but when the results don't match the hype, the respect fades. You don't want that. You want your success to hit like a surprise, quiet buildup, explosive payoff. That's what turns doubters into believers and keeps the haters at bay. How to move in silence. So how do you do it? It starts with discipline. Resist the urge to share, even when it's tempting. Landed a big win? Celebrate privately. Got a bold plan? Keep it close. Making progress? Let it stack up unnoticed. It's not about being secretive. It's about being strategic. Every time you feel that itch to post, to tell, to boast, pause. Ask yourself, who needs to know this right now? What do I gain by sharing? If the answer is no one or validation, hold back. Pour that energy into the work instead. Practice this in small ways. Finish a project and don't rush to tell your friends. Let them notice the outcome later. Set a goal and don't hint at it. Surprise them when it's done. Build something great and don't tease it. Unveil it when it's solid. The less you say, the more you protect. The more you protect, the stronger you grow. And when the time comes, your success will shine brighter because it wasn't diluted by premature noise. I once watched a colleague climb the ranks this way. She never bragged about her late nights, her extra effort, her quiet wins. People whispered, "She's good." But she didn't fuel the buzz. Then one day, she got the promotion everyone else had been shouting for. No one saw it coming, but no one could deny it. Her silence built her power, and her results cemented her respect. The respect that comes naturally. When you keep your achievements quiet, you shift how people see you. They don't respect the talkers. They respect the doers. They don't bow to the ones who beg for attention. They admire the ones who earn it without asking. Your lifestyle, your confidence, your unshakable calm, that's what they'll notice. They'll see you level up, and by the time they do, it's too late for them to interfere. You've already won. This also weeds out the fakes. The jealous, the naysayers, the ones waiting to tear you down. They can't touch what they don't know. They'll only see the finished product, not the process, and that keeps them powerless. Meanwhile, the real ones, the ones who respect you, will step closer. They'll value your focus, your humility, your ability to rise without needing a megaphone. You don't have to announce your worth. Your life will scream it. Conclusion: let success be your voice. From today, vow to keep your achievements quiet. Stop sharing your plans. Stop seeking the crowd's cheers. Work in silence. Move with purpose. Protect your vision. Let the world wake up to what you've built, and not because you told them, but because they can't ignore it. Your results will drown out the doubters, silence the critics, and command the respect you deserve. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need their nods to know you're winning. Build quietly, rise steadily, and watch how the game changes. The less you say, the more they'll see. The more they see, the less they'll dare disrespect you. Success doesn't need a loudspeaker. It's loudest when it stands alone. So keep it quiet, keep it yours, and let it speak when the time is right. That's power no one can take away. Cut off those who drain your energy. Protect your power. Have you ever walked away from someone feeling like a piece of you was missing? Maybe you're exhausted after every conversation, weighed down by their complaints, or stressed from their endless demands. If so, you've met an energy drainer, and they're stealing more from you than you realize. The seventh lesson in ensuring no one disrespects you is this: cut off those who bring stress, negativity, or only take without giving back. Do it immediately. Your energy is precious, a sacred resource that shapes your life, and it deserves fierce protection. When you master this, you reclaim your peace and build a world where respect is non-negotiable. The two types of people in your life. There are only two kinds of people: those who lift you up and those who pull you down. The first group inspires you, challenges you, makes you better. They pour into you as much as you pour into them. The second group, they drain you. They take your time, your attention, your spirit, and leave you empty. They're the ones who call only when they need something, who dump their problems on you without asking how you're doing, who turn every moment into a battlefield of negativity. If you want a life of strength and respect, you have to decide which group gets access to you and cut the drainers loose without hesitation. Think about how you feel after spending time with certain people. Some leave you energized, buzzing with ideas, ready to take on the world. Others leave you heavy, tired, like you've just run a marathon with no finish line. That's not random, it's a sign. Your energy isn't just a feeling. It's the fuel for your thoughts, your actions, your dreams. When it's sapped by the wrong people, everything suffers: your focus, your happiness, your ability to rise. You can't afford to let just anyone near it. I once had a friend who'd call every week with a new crisis. She'd vent for hours: her job, her boyfriend, her life, and I'd listen, advise, support. But she never asked about me, never offered a kind word, never showed up when I needed her. After every call, I felt like I'd been wrung out. It took me too long to see it. She wasn't a friend. She was a leech. The day I stopped answering, my world got lighter. That's what cutting off drainers does. It frees you. The cost of keeping drainers around. Why do we hold onto these people? Guilt, obligation, history. They trick us into thinking we owe them something. They've been around forever, we say. They'll change eventually, we hope. It's not that bad, we lie. But every day you keep them close, they chip away at you. They don't just take your energy. They take your peace, your potential, your power. The longer you tolerate them, the deeper the damage, until you're a shadow of who you could be. Picture this: you've got a friend who always complains. Every coffee date is a monologue of their woes. Nothing's ever good. Everyone's against them. You try to help, but they don't listen. You leave feeling down, their negativity clinging to you like damp clothes. Or maybe it's a family member who guilt trips you into favors you can't afford to give: time, money, emotional labor. You say yes to keep the peace, but inside you're screaming. These aren't small annoyances, they're thefts. They're stealing your vitality, and you're letting them. The cost isn't just immediate, it's cumulative. You start dreading their calls, avoiding their texts, but you don't cut the cord. That dread festers. It turns into resentment, exhaustion, a quiet anger at yourself for not acting sooner. Your energy shapes your destiny, your ability to work, to love, to grow. When it's drained by people who don't deserve it, you're left running on fumes, unable to chase what matters. That's not a life, that's a slow surrender. Recognizing the drainers. So how do you spot them? Simple. Pay attention to how they make you feel. Do they leave you inspired or depleted? Do they give as much as they take? Or is it all one-sided? Do they bring joy or chaos? The signs are clear if you're honest. They're the ones who only show up with a problem, never a solution. The ones who criticize but never encourage. The ones who demand your time but vanish when you need theirs. They might not mean harm. Some don't even realize they're draining, but intent doesn't change impact. Take stock of your circle. That coworker who gossips nonstop, pulling you into drama you don't want? Drainer. The partner who picks fights over nothing, leaving you tense and tired? Drainer. The friend who borrows money, promises anything, and never pays back in cash or kindness. Drainer. They're not just annoying, they're toxic to your spirit. And toxicity doesn't deserve a seat at your table. I saw this with a guy I knew. He had a buddy who'd crash at his place constantly. No rent, no thanks, just mess and excuses. My friend kept him around out of loyalty, but he'd complain about the stress, the lost sleep, the strain. One day he snapped, kicked the guy out, no warning. The relief was instant. His home became his again, his energy returned, his life leveled up. That's the power of cutting off what doesn't serve you. The courage to let go. Cutting people off isn't easy. It takes guts to say no, to walk away, to risk the fallout. They might call you cold, selfish, disloyal. They might guilt you with tears or sob stories. They might rally others against you. That's their game, manipulation to keep you hooked. But you don't owe them anything. Not your energy, not your time, not your peace. You owe yourself a life where you're not constantly depleted. You don't need to explain when you cut them off. No long speeches, no negotiations, no second chances. See the pattern, feel the drain, and act. Block the number. Skip the meetup. Close the door. It's not cruel, it's clarity. The longer you wait, the more you lose, and the harder it gets. Rip the bandage off fast, and you'll heal faster. The ones who get mad, they're mad because they're losing their grip on you, and that's their problem, not yours. This isn't about burning bridges for fun. It's about discernment. Some people are lessons. They teach you what you won't tolerate. Once you've learned, let them go. Holding on out of guilt or fear slows you down. Your peace is worth more than their presence. Your energy is worth more than their demands. You're not here to carry everyone, you're here to rise. The reward of a drainer-free life. When you cut off the drainers, you'll feel it immediately. The weight lifts, the fog clears. You've got room to breathe, to think, to be. Your energy comes back, not in trickles, but in waves. You'll notice you're less tense, less tired, more alive. That's what happens when you stop leaking your power to people who don't deserve it. You reclaim it, and it fuels everything: your work, your relationships, your dreams. It also reshapes your world. The users fade. They can't survive without your supply. The manipulators move on. They need someone easier to control. The complainers quiet down. They've got no audience. In their place, the right people step up. The ones who inspire you, who respect you, who match your energy. They'll fill the space you've cleared. You don't have to chase them. They'll find you when you stop wasting yourself on the wrong ones. Conclusion: guard your energy like gold. Starting now, treat your energy as sacred. Cut off anyone who drains it, no warnings, no apologies, no delays. If they bring stress, negativity, or one-sided demands, they don't belong in your life. You don't owe them your spirit. You don't owe them your peace. You owe yourself the strength to say, enough, and mean it. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being whole. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Let go of the drainers and watch how you soar. The stress will fade, the chaos will settle, and the respect will grow, not because you demanded it, but because you refuse to let anyone steal what's yours. No one will disrespect you when you value yourself this fiercely. Cut them off today and take back your power for good. Never let anyone see you beg. Stand tall in your worth. Have you ever found yourself pleading for someone's attention, affection, or respect? Maybe you chased after a friend who kept you at arm's length, begged a partner to stay when they'd already checked out, or groveled for a chance at work when you deserved better. It feels desperate because it is, and that desperation costs you more than you know. The 8th lesson in ensuring no one disrespects you is this: never let anyone see you beg. Don't lower yourself to plead for what should be given freely. Those who don't value you aren't worth your pursuit. When you stand firm in your worth, you command respect without ever bending a knee. The dignity of knowing your value. There's a quiet power in understanding you're enough, not because someone says so, but because you know it deep down. It's not arrogance. It's dignity. It's the refusal to diminish yourself, to shrink into someone smaller just to fit into a space that doesn't see you. Begging strips that away. The moment you plead for love, for notice, for a crumb of respect, you tell the world you don't believe in your own worth. You signal that you need them more than they need you, that you're willing to trade your pride for their scraps. And once they see that, they'll never look at you the same. People can smell desperation. It's like blood in the water. It draws them in, not to help, but to exploit. The more you beg, the less they give. The more you chase, the faster they pull away. The more you prove yourself, the less they value you. It's a cruel paradox. Begging doesn't earn respect, it kills it. When someone wants to leave your life, let them go. When they refuse to see your worth, walk away. When they withhold what you deserve, don't try to convince them. Because the second you beg, you've lost the one thing that matters most, your power. I've seen it happen. A woman I knew begged her boyfriend to stay after he cheated. She cried, promised to change, pleaded for another chance, even though she'd done nothing wrong. He stayed, but not out of love. He stayed because he knew he could do anything and she'd still be there. The respect was gone. She'd handed him all the control, and he used it to walk all over her. That's what begging does. It turns you into someone's option, not their prize. Why begging backfires? When you beg, you're not just asking for something, you're admitting you don't think you deserve it. You're saying, I'm not enough on my own. And people believe you. They don't suddenly see your value because you're on your knees. They see weakness, neediness, a chance to take more without giving back. It's not attractive. It doesn't inspire love or loyalty. It breeds pity at best, contempt at worst, neither of which is respect. Think about a time you begged. Maybe it was subtle, texting someone over and over when they ghosted you, hoping they'd reply. Maybe it was overt, pleading with a boss for a raise they should have offered, laying out every reason you're worth it. What happened? If they gave in, it wasn't because they saw your light. It was because they wanted you to stop. And if they didn't, you walked away feeling smaller, not stronger. Either way, you lost. Begging never wins what's real. It only gets you leftovers. The strongest people don't chase. They don't plead. They don't force what doesn't flow naturally. They know what's meant for them will stay, and what isn't is a waste of time. They move with confidence, not desperation, because their worth isn't up for negotiation. That's why they're chosen, not because they begged for it, but because they didn't need to. People are drawn to those who stand tall, not those who crawl. It's not just about relationships. This isn't limited to love or friendship. It applies everywhere. Jobs, opportunities, respect in any form. If you have to beg for it, you're in the wrong place. Imagine groveling for a promotion you've earned, listing every late night, every success, just to be considered. If they can't see your value without you begging, they don't deserve your talent. Or picture pleading with a client to pay you what you're owed, bending over backward to justify your rate. If they won't honor you without a fight, they're not worth your time. I knew a guy who begged for a spot on a team, not with words, but with actions. He took on extra work, kissed up, practically shouted his dedication. They let him in, but they never respected him. He was the grunt, the pushover, the one they knew would take anything. Compare that to someone who walked away from a gig that undervalued her. She didn't plead. She left. A month later, they called her back with a better offer, because she showed she didn't need them. That's the difference. Begging keeps you small. Standing firm lifts you up. Even in small moments, it matters. Begging a friend to hang out when they flake repeatedly? You're teaching them you'll settle for crumbs. Pleading with someone to listen when they tune you out? You're proving your voice doesn't carry weight. Stop. If they don't value you naturally, they don't belong in your orbit. The strength to stand alone. Never begging means trusting yourself, even when it's hard. It's letting someone walk out your door without a word, knowing you'll be fine. It's turning down a half-hearted offer, believing something better will come. It's facing the silence of rejection and still holding your head high. That takes guts. It's scary to think, what if they never come back? What if I miss out? But here's the truth. What's meant for you doesn't need to be chased. And what you lose by not begging, you gain in self-respect. The strongest people don't cling. They release. They know their value isn't tied to someone else's choice. If a friend doesn't see your worth, they're free to go, you won't beg them to stay. If a job doesn't honor you, you'll find another, you won't plead for fairness. If respect isn't given, you'll walk away, you won't grovel for it. That certainty, that refusal to bend, is what sets you apart. It's what makes people rethink how they treat you, and not because you fought for it, but because you didn't. Look at the greats. Did they beg for their place? Did they plead for the world to notice? No, they stood in their truth, worked in their purpose, and let their worth shine. People came to them, not the other way around. That's your path. You're not here to convince anyone of your value. You're here to live it. And when you do, the right ones will see it without you saying a word. The freedom of no begging. When you stop begging, you break free. No more chasing shadows. No more lowering yourself for scraps. You become unshakable, not because everyone gives you what you want, but because you don't need them to. Imagine the relief. No more twisting yourself into knots for a nod. No more proving what's already true. Just you, standing tall, knowing you're enough whether they stay or go. They might leave. They might scoff. They might think you're too proud. Let them. You're not here to win their favor, you're here to win your life. The ones who don't value you will fade, and the ones who do will rise, and not because you begged them to, but because they couldn't help it. Your worth isn't a negotiation. It's a fact. Live like it, and the begging stops, along with the disrespect. Conclusion: you are the prize. From this moment, vow never to beg again. Not for attention, not for love, not for respect, to nothing. Don't lower yourself to plead with those who can't see you. If they don't value you, they don't deserve you. End of story. Stand firm, walk away, let them feel your absence. You're not an option to be chosen. You're a prize to be earned. You don't need to convince anyone to stay. You don't need to prove your worth to the blind. You don't need to chase what's real. It'll find you when you stop running. Every time you feel that urge to beg, stop, step back, remind yourself, I'm enough. If they can't see it, they're not your people. If they can't give it, they're not your path. Never let them see you beg, because when you know your value, you'll never have to. That's power, that's respect, and that's yours to keep. Master the art of walking away. Choose yourself and claim your worth. Have you ever stayed in a place that broke you, hoping it would get better? Maybe a relationship that drained you, a job that crushed your spirit, or a friendship that left you feeling small. You clung on, afraid to let go, convinced that one day they'd see your value. If that's you, listen closely. Walking away from relationships and situations that don't respect you is the ultimate act of self-respect. This is the 9th lesson in ensuring no one disrespects you again. Don't stay out of fear or false hope. Choose yourself and make room for what truly deserves you. When you master this art, you don't just survive, you thrive. The power of letting go. Walking away isn't weakness, it's strength. It's not giving up. It's choosing yourself when the world refuses to give you what you're worth. There's a quiet power in turning your back on what no longer serves you. A confidence that says, I don't need to beg for my place here. It's louder than any argument, stronger than any plea. Too many people miss this. They stay too long, fight too hard, settle for too little, all because they're scared of what's on the other side. But staying where you're disrespected isn't safety. It's a slow death to your soul. Think about a time you held on. Maybe a partner treated you like an afterthought, and you stuck around, hoping they'd change. Maybe a boss overlooked you for promotions, and you kept grinding, thinking they'd notice. Maybe a friend took you for granted, and you stayed silent, believing loyalty meant enduring. What did it get you? More pain, more doubt, more disrespect. People don't suddenly value you after years of neglect. They value you when you show them you won't tolerate less. Walking away is how you prove it. I knew someone who stayed in a toxic job for years. The pay was decent, but the boss belittled her daily. No praise, no growth, just criticism. She'd vent, cry, but never leave. What if I don't find better? She'd say. One day, she hit her limit. She quit, no backup plan, just faith in herself. Within months, she landed a role that paid more and respected her. Walking away didn't ruin her. It saved her. That's the secret. Leaving what breaks you opens doors you didn't see. Why we stay too long. So why do we linger? Fear. Fear of the unknown, of being alone, of starting over. Hope, that fragile, stubborn hope that they'll wake up, that things will shift, that your patience will pay off. Guilt, the voice that says you're selfish for leaving, that you owe them more chances. But those are chains, not reasons. They keep you trapped in places that don't honor you, draining your energy, dimming your light. The truth is, people don't change unless they want to. And if they haven't respected you by now, they won't start tomorrow. Staying is a habit we learn. We're taught to endure, to fix, to make it work, especially when it's hard. But there's a difference between perseverance and self-destruction. Staying where you're valued is worth the fight. Staying where you're dismissed is throwing yourself away. How many times have you given one more chance to someone who didn't deserve the first? How many times have you waited for a miracle that never came? Every day you stay, you tell them and yourself that you're okay with less. You're not. The cost is steep. You lose time you can't get back. You lose confidence worn down by their indifference. You lose pieces of yourself trying to fit their mold. I've seen it, a friend who stayed with a partner who cheated, lied, ignored her. She'd say, "He'll see how good I am." He didn't. She wasted years, and when she finally left, she regretted not doing it sooner. Don't let that be you. The longer you stay, the harder it gets to remember who you are without their shadow. The courage to walk away. Walking away takes guts. It's facing the fear head-on, the what-ifs that haunt you. What if you never find better? What if you're wrong? What if you're alone? Those questions will scream, but they're lies dressed as caution. The real risk isn't leaving. It's staying where you're not wanted. It's betting your life on someone else's change instead of your own strength. The strongest people don't wait for permission to live better. They take it. They'll try to stop you. They'll guilt you. You're giving up too soon. They'll blame you. You're selfish. They'll beg you to stay, not because they value you, but because they need you more than you need them. These are the same people who didn't respect you when you were there. They took your kindness, your time, your presence, and assumed you'd never leave. Now that you're going, they panic, not out of love, but loss. Let them. Walking away isn't about them. It's about you. It's not loud or dramatic. You don't need to slam doors or shout ultimatums. Sometimes it's quiet, a simple, "I'm done." A packed bag, a resigned desk. The power isn't in the noise. It's in the choice. You're not proving a point to them, you're proving it to yourself. You're saying, "I deserve better," and meaning it. That's what shifts everything. The freedom of choosing yourself. When you walk away, you don't just leave, you reclaim. You take back your time, your energy, your peace. You break the cycle of disrespect, the burden of begging for what's owed. You free yourself to breathe, to grow, to be. It's hard at first. The silence stings. The doubt creeps in. The loneliness bites. But then it happens, you feel lighter. You realize you don't need them. You see you're stronger than you thought. I watched a woman leave a friendship that crushed her. They'd been close for years, but it was one-sided. She gave, they took. She'd cry about it but never cut ties until one day, she did. No explanation, just distance. First, she missed them. Then she noticed no more late-night rants to endure. No more guilt trips. No more feeling invisible. She started painting again. Something she dropped to keep them happy. Walking away didn't shrink her life. It expanded it. Leaving makes space. Space for people who see you, who respect you, who don't need convincing. Space for opportunities that align with your worth. Space for you to rediscover yourself, unburdened by their weight. The more you walk away from what drags you down, the more you attract what lifts you up. It's not magic. It's cause and effect. When you choose yourself, the world adjusts. The respect that follows. People respect those who walk away. Why? Because it's rare. Most cling, compromise, settle, but not you. When you show you'll leave rather than beg, they rethink you. They realize you're not a doormat, not a fallback, not someone they can take for granted. They see strength, and strength demands respect. Sometimes they come back, not always, but often with better offers, better treatment, because they felt your absence. But by then, it's too late, you're already moving forward. More importantly, you respect yourself. Every step away proves you're not the person who stays where they're not valued. You teach yourself you're worth more, and that lesson sticks. It shapes how you carry yourself, who you let in, what you accept. You become someone who doesn't need to fight for respect, you embody it. Conclusion. Walk away and win. From today, master the art of walking away. Leave the relationships that diminish you, the situations that disrespect you, the people who don't see you. Don't stay out of fear. Don't cling to empty hope. Choose yourself even when it hurts, even when it's hard. You'll never regret walking away from what breaks you. You'll only regret the years you didn't. The right people won't make you beg. The right opportunities won't make you small. The right life won't demand you prove your worth. Walk away from what doesn't fit, not to punish them, but to free you. Let them feel your absence. Let them learn the hard way. You're too busy thriving, too strong to settle, too valuable to stay where you're not seen. Master this and no one will disrespect you again. Because you've already chosen the one person who matters most. You. And that's it, 9 powerful lessons to ensure no one disrespects you ever again. To everyone who's watched all the way to the end, thank you from the bottom of our hearts here at ZenLight 8. Your time, your attention, and your commitment to leveling up your life mean the world to us. If these lessons hit home, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a chance to ignite your inner strength with us. Drop a comment below. Tell us which lesson resonated most or how you're going to start commanding respect today. This is ZenLight 8, where we light the way to your best self. Until next time, stay powerful, stay true, and keep rising.